Good morning, my dear students. I am very lucky to teach you because I have a love for St. Francis School. So 2 years back, for 1 year, I work in the school, and I like it. The discipline, all the students, all the teachers, your principal sir, and the all teaching, non-teaching staff members. So that is why also I was very keen to teach you because I love St. Francis School and hope you will enjoy my lectures. Chemistry is a very easy, very interesting subject. Though the portions are very lengthy, so that is why it looks it's a difficult. But if you do the work regularly, every day reading, writing, and more and more practice if you do, then you will not feel that much difficult. So as the situation, you know that difficult uh, in in terms of conditions. So we are doing our best by that video lecturing, and when we have a personal classes, it's a total a different scenario, and you will personal conversation when we have, definitely it makes a lot of impact, but try to adjust little bit with this video lectures. You know that total 16 sorry 16 lessons are there, and we have a 50 marks MCQ questions and 50 marks theory questions. So that is why also it is very difficult. If all theories or all MCQs, then it will be a more easy thing. But anyhow, we have to adjust. We starts with the unit 2 solutions. You know that solution made up of two component, solute and solvent. So solute and solvent. Now how can you know that this is a solute or this is a solvent? So when you make a solution, one substance will be in smaller amount, so that will be our solute, and the one which is in large amount, that will be our solvent then. Suppose we are mixing 10 gram sugar in 90 gram water. So sugar is less than water, so sugar will be our solute and water will be our solvent. So all the substance which are dissolved in the solvent will be considered as a solute. So there are a lot of examples, but I have mentioned few here. Solvent examples are not that much. Water is a universal solvent. This is a benzene, toluene, alcohols, ethers, acetones, aniline, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, carbon disulfide. These are some organic solvents which we have to used. But when the name of the solvent is not given, then you consider that our solution is prepared in water. So most of those substances are dissolved in water. So therefore, water is called as a universal solvent. Now, exact definition of solution is what? So when you mix these two substances, then it must be uniform homogeneous mixture. So important word is homogeneous. Homogeneous means after mixing they becomes one. Suppose you take a water or alcohol and you put water in it. So alcohol and water, after some time you will see that both loses their individuality and nobody remains separately. So after some time you can't say that this part is a water or this part is a alcohol. So they becomes one. That is called homogeneous. Homo means same. They becomes one then. Now suppose you take an example of sand and a water. So we can't call sand and water as a solution. It is a mixture, but sand remain separately individual. Water is also remain separately, and you know that sand is not dissolved in water then. So that is why sand and water mixture is heterogeneous mixture. So it is not homogeneous. So that is why it is not a solution. So it is clear now that what is a solution and what is a homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixtures then. So again, what is a solution? It is a mixture of solute and solvent which should be homogeneous then. Now most of the solution have only two components. So the majority of solution is called binary solution. Bi means two. So mostly there will be a two component in the solution. One will be solute, other will be solvent. So in this lesson, most of the solutions that we will study are made up of only one solute and one solvent. Now suppose you take an example of lemon juice. All of you are fond of lemon juice, and in summer we have to take more and more lemon juice. So when you make it, so a lemon plus sugar plus salt plus water. So there are four components. So this one is not a binary solutions. So binary means only two: alcohol plus water, sugar plus water, carbon disulfide plus ether. So when you have two components only, then it is a binary solution. So here we have a four components. So if it is three component, it is called ternary. Ter means three, and here it is a four, so it is a tetranary. Tetra means four. 1, 2, 3 and 4. But basically these three will be in a small amount, lemon, sugar and salt. So they will be called as a solute, and this water will be a solvent. So is it clear what is the meaning of binary solution, ternary solution, tetranary? But you will not heard this kind of word for the, so most of our solutions are binary solutions. So this is about the basic of the solution. So solution is containing two components, solute and solvent. Now solution will be known by the name of solute. So when we say sugar solution, so then it should be clear in your mind that the sugar is a solute. When we say NaOH solution, so it means NaOH is a solute. When we say NaCl solution, so NaCl is a solute. So solution is known by the name of solute, because in preparing all these solutions we are always taking water as a solvent. So if you say name of the solution from the solvent, then you have to call always as a water solution. So that is why also we can't say solutions by the name of solvent. And second thing, that when you make a solution, the properties developed in the solution is because of due to solute dissolved in it. Suppose you put sugar, then solution becomes sweet. So the sweetness is developed by not water but by sugar. So that whatever character, nature is developed in solution, solute is responsible. So that is why also, to know the property of the solution, we have to name the solution by solute. Suppose a salt solution you say, then again the effect is produced by the salt dissolved in water. Then lemon solution, when you say, the taste that we have, it is of lemon. That so that is why solution is known by the name of solute. So these two things, important thing you have to learn, that who is a solute and who is a solvent. So one thing is in terms of the proportion of the component. Small amount is a solute, large amount is a solvent. So 10 ml alcohol and 90 ml water. So this is our solute, this is our solvent. And when alcohol is dissolved in water, the effect on the central nervous system will be produced by alcohol, not water. So that is why also we have to call solution as a alcohol solution. Now we'll do some basic again. This is a preliminary discussion about the solute and solvent. Now when you make a solution, every time each solute will not dissolve in all solvents. So whatever solute, in short, you have taken and whatever solvent you have taken, not necessary that they will make a solution. So preparation of solution depends on the liking, disliking. So like dissolves like. Like dissolved like. It means what? That attraction. So when there is a proper attraction between solute and solvent, then they becomes a homogeneous. So two becomes one. There must be a proper attraction or interaction between the solute and solvent. See, many of you in your class, you are studying together, right, from nursery to first standard, means 10-15 years together you are in the same school or same class. But then also we found that we don't have a equal relationship with all. Sometimes we say that I dislike his nature, not attitude is not good, or is not, he or she is not mixing properly. So that all part of a attraction. So if there is a proper interaction between solute and solvent is possible, then and then solution will form. So what we have seen just that when we put sand in water, we are not getting the solution. So there is no strong interaction possible between the sand and water, or there is no attraction between them. So therefore they will not make a solution. So they have to mix and they have to becomes one, means they have to make a homogeneous solution. So homogeneous only form when they have a strong attractions with each other. So for that our topic is nature of solute and solvent. So if the nature of solute and solvents are related to each other, then the solution will be formed easily. So for that there is a 4 points. So first point is this. So the compounds which contain OH group, they are easily soluble in water. What is the point? That the compound who has a OH group in their formula are easily soluble in water. Suppose you take an example of ethanol. So when you take when you have a ethanol, you want to make a solution, so you can prepare the solution of ethanol easily in water. So it means that there must be a proper interaction possible between the ethanol and water molecules. So you know this, last year you may have gone through that hydrogen bond. So between the positively charged hydrogen of OH part of alcohol with the oxygen of water. So this attraction make a solution of ethanol in water possible. So that OH group substance are forming solution easily with water because they have a strong hydrogen bonding with water molecules. So therefore they are easily soluble in water. Then here continue point. Now you know this compound. This is called ethane 1,2-diol or ethylene glycol. So ethylene glycol, when you put in water, so then there are what we have seen here, that OH part of alcohol is forming hydrogen bond with water. So when there is a more OH group in the compound, then they produces more hydrogen bond with water molecules. So here we have attractions from the two sides there. So two OH fill two separate attractions with water. So when you take a equal amount of water in this way, and when you try to dissolve ethanol and try to dissolve ethylene glycol in it, so in equal amount of water, ethylene glycol will dissolve more. So it is also called ethane 1,2-diol, and this is the third compound, which is called glycerine. So glycerine, or you may call as a glycerol. So when you put glycerol in water, then as it has a 3 OH group, so all 3 H plus of OH group will form hydrogen bond with water molecules from 3 different positions. So therefore, when you take a equal amount of water in a 3 different glass and you try to dissolve ethanol, glycol and glycerine, then the glycerine will dissolve more compared to this, because there is a more interaction possible between the glycerine molecules and the water molecules, because it makes a hydrogen bond in 3 different positions there. So in another way you can say that the solubility of glycerine will be more in compared to ethanol and glycol. So this may be asked as a question, that when ethanol, glycol and glycerine dissolved in water, who will dissolve more and why then? So keep in mind this point, and maybe asked in MCQ that water's solution of following compound is prepared in water, who has a more solubility, or which will dissolve more. Solubility means maximum amount of solute there. So when you try to put these 3 in water, then glycerol will dissolve maximum compared to others. So this is the first point. OH group compounds have strong attractions with water and they will dissolve easily in water. Then second point is very easy. A polar substance dissolved in polar solvent. Polar substance is dissolved in polar solvent. Now just what we have seen, that when you try to put sand in water, we have seen that we cannot prepare the solution of sand in water. So sand is a non-polar substance and water is a polar substance. So therefore polar solvent will dissolve polar solute. Suppose you have taken an example of HCl in water. So HCl is a polar and water is also polar. You can write in this way also. So when there is a partial positive negative charge on 2 atoms, then they are called polar substance in short. So HCl is a polar, water is also polar. So polar substance will dissolve in polar solvent. In the same way, HNO3 or HF or HI or HBr, this kind of polar solutes you can easily dissolve in polar solvents water then. Now you are aware that if you want to make a solution of petrol in water, so is it possible? Can we make a solution of petrol in water? So our answer is no, because that petrol is a non-polar substance and water is a polar substance. So when there is a polar substance, polar solvent and polar solute, then there is a more attractions between them. But instead of this, if you take a petrol and kerosene, so we can make a homogeneous mixture of these two. So you know that on a petrol pump, we are not getting only petrol, but we are getting the solution of petrol kerosene. So petrol is a non-polar, kerosene is also non-polar. So both non-polar will make a solution easily. So third point is that non-polar substance dissolved in non-polar solvents then. So polar substance is dissolved in polar solvent, non-polar substance is dissolved in non-polar solvents. So when you want to make a solution of petrol in water, which is not possible. Now, if you want to make a solution of benzene and toluene, so it is possible because benzene is a non-polar, toluene is also non-polar. So you cannot dissolve benzene in water or you cannot dissolve toluene in water, but both can be dissolved in petrol then. So 3 points are clear, that OH substance, OH group containing substances are easily soluble in water. So all alcohols OH group contain substances are soluble in water. Then polar substance dissolved in polar solvents, non-polar substance dissolved in non-polar solvents then. And the last point is that solution ionic solids or ionic substance easily soluble in water then. So NaCl plus water. You know that NaCl is a table salt. So in our daily food preparation in kitchen, NaCl is used and they are making the solution in water. So all ionic solids, NaCl, KCl, KNO3, Na2SO4, KBr, Ki. So many ionic substances are there. So you want to make a solution of ionic substance, then you can dissolve them easily in water then. So this is about the nature of solute and solvent. So this will be very useful point. And now we will move to the topic, that is types of solution. So when you make a solute and solvent, so what is the physical state of solution? Physical state of solution is what? In terms of that, we will make a types of solutions. Now, normally what we know, that solution are always liquid, because we have more experience of liquid solutions then. So, and also in our day-to-day life, we have used more liquid solutions. So normal belief is that the solutions are liquid, but solution can be solid, it can be liquid also, and it can be gaseous also. So you have to keep in mind the concept that one must be in small amount, other must be in large amount, and they should form homogeneous mixture. So in which form they are, they have a physical state, solid, liquid or gas, that is not important, but you have to see that small One is small amount, other is large amount, and they form a homogeneous mixture. Now, so when you mix the solute and solvent, and if the physical state of the solution is solid, then we call as a solid solution. The physical state is liquid, then we call as a liquid solution, and physical state is gas, then we call as a gaseous solution. Suppose air. So air, this is the air. Now in air, you know that nitrogen and oxygen both are there. So you can't say that this part is nitrogen or this part is oxygen, because that nitrogen and oxygen by mixing they becomes one. So it is a homogeneous mixture there. So nitrogen is 78% and oxygen is 21%. So this nitrogen will be called as a solvent and oxygen will be called as a solute, and these two are in a gaseous form. So therefore our solution is a gaseous solution. So then if you take a example of that milk plus water or a milk plus sugar, so they are both example of liquid type. Then you can take an example of petrol plus kerosene, alcohol plus water. So all these examples are of liquid solutions. Then in solids we have alloys or ornaments. Suppose this is a gold ornament, but in this little bit of copper or silver is added. But when you look at the ring, you can't say that this part is a gold or this part is a silver or a copper, because after mixing they becomes one. So gold is more and silver or copper is less. So silver or copper will be our solute and gold will be our solvents then. So alloys and ornaments. Alloys, you know that it is a mixture of two or more metals then. So these are a few examples of different type of solutions. Now we will go one by one to the further discussion of the solid, liquid and gaseous solutions. So solid solutions, it means that your physical state of a solution is solid. So physical state of solution is solid, therefore it is a solid solution. Now naturally the physical state will be gained in terms of the physical state of solvent, because solvent is in excess and this is in small amount. So naturally the physical state will occur in terms of excess whatever be. So in solid solution there are three types, in which every time our solvent is in solid form. So solid solutions are of three types, in which solvent will be always solid, but solute have a different physical state. So solid, liquid and gas. So now solid solutions are of two types, in which the solute is solid, solute is liquid and solute is gas. Every time the state of the solution and state of the solvent will be remain same. As I told you that solution will get the state in terms of the one which is in large amount. So now in this case we can take an example of brass, which is a alloy of copper and zinc. Then you take a simple example of stainless steel. So stainless steel is made from nickel, chromium and iron. So there is a 70% this, 10% this and 20% nickel. So nickel and chromium will be the solute and the iron will be the solvent. Now when you use the utensils of stainless steel. So when you take a rice or a vegetable or roti, or when you put on in your stainless steel utensils, you can't say that this vegetable is in chromium part or roti is in iron part or like that, because after mixing these three becomes one. So because they form a homogeneous mixture. So when we mix them, we have to melt them. So then they will mix. But after all mixing, they will get the cooling. On cooling, they becomes a solid. So it is a solid solution. So is it clear that what is a solid and solid solution? Then here, last year, you have used this amalgams. It is called sodium amalgam. Amalgams means becomes one after mixing. Zinc amalgam. So here this liquid. So this, you know that mercury is a liquid. So this mercury will be our solute, and sodium, aluminium and zinc will be solvent, and they are solid. You know that mercury can exist in a liquid state also there. So here when you mix these two, then physical state becomes solid. So it is an example of solid solution. So it is called sodium amalgam, aluminium amalgam, zinc amalgam. So mercury will be our solute, sodium, aluminium, zinc will be our solvent, and solution is also solid there. Now in the case of this third one, solute is gas. So you have to take a H2 gas, and as a solid solvent you have to take a metals. So H2 plus Ni, H2 plus Pt. You have used in organic chemistry last year that H2Pt or H2Pd or H2Ni. So this is our solution in which solute is gas, solvent is solid, and the solution is solid. So these are the three types of solid solutions. So clearly you have to mention that solute is solid or liquid or gas then. Now I will go to the second solution, which is a liquid solution, and I had mentioned earlier that maximum example we have of liquid solution. So in liquid solution, naturally the state will be liquid as solvent must be liquid. So solute we have to change solid, liquid and gas. Solvent will be liquid, solution will be liquid. So you know this example: sugar plus water, salt plus water. So sugar and salt are the solids, water is a liquid, and the solution is also liquid. So you can follow very easily. So we will not waste time in it. Then liquid, you have a lot of example again. Petrol plus kerosene, then milk plus water, benzene plus toluene, and so many organic solvents, organic substances, chloroform, CCl4, like that. So they are all liquid examples. And in gas, that chlorinated water, then carbonated water. In practical, you have used the solution of H2S in water. Then ammonia solutions we have used in water. So many gases are dissolved in water, and they make a liquid solution in which solute is gas. And so this second category solutions we found in maximum. So that is why we feel that our solution is always liquid. Now third solution is a gaseous solution. So in which solute will be solid, liquid, gas, and every time solvent will be gas. So state of the solution and state of the solvent will be remain always same. So only you have to change the state of the solute as a solid, liquid and gas. So here in this case, you can take an example of camphor plus air. So burning of camphor. Camphor in Gujarati we call as a kapoor. So after prayer, uh, kapoor is used. So you know that kapoor, gauram, karuna, vataram, like that. So that camphor and that smoke is formed. That is a solution of camphor and air. Then in liquid, we have a moisturized air. So water as a moisture and air as a solvent. Moisture will be the lesser in lesser proportion, so it will be a solute. And in third category, you can take an example of dry gas. So I had mentioned earlier N2O2 air. Air is an example of this. So nitrogen excess so is solvent and oxygen is in small amount, so it is a solute. So we don't have a more example of this gaseous solutions. So this is the 9 type of solutions then. So solute will change, solvent and solution state will remain same then. So solid solutions are of 3 categories, liquid of 3 and gas of 3. So try to remember each and every examples of this. So here we'll end the lecture. So hope that whatever I had explained it is clear in your mind. So I will send the videos. You go through this and listen it properly. And I'll give you my number. You can call me if any doubt you have. And hope you have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you very much.